Draft day is almost here, and what is more fun than trading around in the first round, potentially even trading up, right? So we're going to talk today about 5 potential targets and scenarios where the Vikings could trade up. Yeah, now we're talking about like up, like not back into the back end of the first round. We're talking about premium, getting to the top half of the first round. So it's something that Rick Spielman hasn't done in his tenure, but also if the Vikings were going to do it, this could potentially be the year, since they do have 12 draft picks, 5 in the top 105, as well as 2 first-round picks. They have the ammunition to go up and get their friggin' guy if they really want to do that, because there is only about, say, a dozen, 13 or 14 really elite top-tier prospects, and of those, if one of those were able to fall within range of the Vikings, I would be okay with it. So again, we're going to talk about like realistic trade-up scenarios. So, I mean, probably no Derek Brown, even though that would be fun. Probably no Joe Burrow, even though that would be a lot of fun too, and controversial. Probably no Tua, but you know. So let's get into it. Also, we're going to use the potential trade value chart as well, so that should be fun. Number 1, so a big 3 offensive tackle. Now, Andrew Thomas of Georgia, Jedrick Wills Jr. from Alabama, and Tristan Wirfs. I love all 3 of them. I think all 3 will be immediate day 1, week 1 starters and potential Pro Bowl players very quickly. Thomas is clearly the best left tackle because Wills played on the right at Alabama. I think he has the skill set to flip over to the left side. As Tristan Wirfs, is he a guard? Is he a right tackle? He did play some pretty significant left tackle snaps at Iowa last season, so I think he does have the versatility to do that as well. I mean, the Vikings, the offensive line has been bad for so long that if you're able to land either one of these 3 guys, even though, like we said, that this is probably about a big 6 tackle class, throw Josh Jones, Ezra Cleveland in there as well. Mekhi Becton, Oh boy. You saw the video yesterday. But the Vikings, if they package up both first rounders as a trade chart value of $1,500, so that would equal the Panthers at 7. Now, again, I would be fine with either 3. I do have a slight love more for Andrew Thomas because he would step in right away as left tackle, not as many positional change questions. But also, I don't think you necessarily have to get up to 7. Like, if one gets by the Jets at 11, who clearly should be an offensive tackle, and if they get past the Raiders at 12, I mean, it would be tempting to go up and get one, whether it be Wills, Thomas, or Wirfs, and they may fall because teams may still be in love with Becton's measurables, so they may go a different route there. So, I mean, Andrew Thomas is probably the most likely one to fall, just because I think teams are just massively overthinking him, and also you're betting more on the physical prowess of a Wirfs or a Becton and a Wills. So if Andrew Thomas gets the 13 to the Niners, 13 is 1,150 points. So does 22, 58, and 132 get it done? Roughly ballpark value there. As well as we said, the Niners don't have a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round pick, so they may be looking to break up one of those first rounders that have 13 and 31. So would you do it? Would you do it? Would you give up 22, 58, and 132? So a first, a 2nd, and a 4th? Be really tempting. Absolutely tempting. Trade scenario number 2. So Jeff OKUDAH, El Jefe, Jeffrey, coming out of Ohio State University. And to me, pretty clearly a cornerback 1 in the draft. It's got size, length, aggression that I love. Press man savant, absolute stud in zone. Would come in and be your week 1 traveling with the wide receiver 1 cornerback for the next decade, right? You come in like gangbusters, like Tre'Davious White, and just a complete cornerback. And there has been some talk of C.J. Henderson possibly going cornerback 1. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a knock on OKUDAH. It's just more at stylistically, maybe teams do prefer a guy like Henderson. But if OKUDAH gets by the Lions at 3, which has made the most sense ever since they do need to replace Darius Slay and have had some struggles in the secondary under Patricia. So, I mean, if Kuda gets by Detroit, which maybe they just pass on him because, like, the stupid Ohio State-Michigan thing, that state up north passes on the Buckeye. Maybe. So Kuda falls out of the top 5, and if he's, say, the 2nd cornerback off the board, so say the Falcons do trade up for that cornerback, which has been rumored about, and they go C.J. Henderson, and Kuda falls out of the top 5, it's going to be really tempting because where the Vikings draft, we are in love with Jeff Gladney, another Jefe, Jalen Johnson, of course, from Utah, Christian Fulton from LSU is going to be in that mix, A.J. Terrell from Clemson, but It is a top heavy class. Like, it's not as, certainly not as deep as a wide receiver class, but it's a solid cornerback class, but it is top heavy, and there are certain tiers there. And for me, OKUDAH is still 1-1-1. So I mean, would the Vikings give up both ones to get up to 7? I mean, if he falls out of the top 5 or top 6 and Carolina's open to deal, do you give up 22 and 25 to condense it into one pick? Go up and get the number 7. It'd be tough, but I mean, I would certainly love to have the opportunity to have that scenario on the board. Number 3, top 3 wide receiver. So Ruggs, Judy, and Lamb. And yes, extremely deep wide receiver class. And as we've said on here a bunch of times, if the Vikings did pass on a position in the first round, wide receiver would be the one to do it. Where I think at the bottom of round 3, as well as the top of day 3, I think that you are going to get some wide receivers who make a very early impact here. But again, just like we said with the cornerbacks, there are tiers. And for me, it is Ruggs, it is Lamb, it is Judy up near the top. Tell me what your flavor up there. And there probably is going to be a run at wide receivers. So you got the Jets at 11 with a clear need, Raiders at 12, Niners at 13, as well as the Broncos at 15, potentially could be trading up. All of them have big wide receiver needs. And if one of the 3 gets through the gauntlet, okay. Like, I'm not as pressed to trade up as I would be for a tackle or a cornerback. But if one of them gets by the top 15, just one of them just pops out there, we'll consider going up. But again, not trading up far. So go up to 17 with the Cowboys. Say the Cowboys package up 17, 82, 123 for 22 and 58. That's pretty close on the trade chart. I mean, you're moving up 5 picks. You're getting an extra mid-round pick, which is always kind of nice. You're sacrificing that second rounder, but you do come away with a top-tier wide receiver in this class. As my voice cracks like Kirk Cousins. There you go. Number 4. So 4th out of 5 trade-up scenarios for the Vikings, JAVON KINLAW, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. Now, the Vikings have lacked that penetrating 3-tech since Sheldon left, as well as Sharif Floyd had his incident. Still tough. KINLAW has become a draft darling, rightfully so. A great backstory, overcame a lot, and not a finished product on the field, but you just see the raw, amazing, penetrating potential. And just imagine him working with Andre Patterson, working on refinement, and just sexy time, right? That 3-tech spot. It's unlikely that he'll fall very far. I mean, there has even been some talk that he could be the first defensive interior off the board with the overthink Derek Brown out of Auburn, which is possible, but probably not probable. But say KINLAW, because there are some other like character questions, which I think maybe smoke and mirrors at this point of the draft. But if he falls to say 14 in the Bucks, it would be perfectly synced up at 1,100 points for 14 for 22 and 58. Bucks need offensive line help and cornerback help, but say the big 4 tackles are off the board. Say that the cornerbacks pick through. Say that Henderson and OKUDAH are already off the board. And well, hell, watch the Bucks just take DeAndre Swift at 14 just to own the libs. Just like whatever. Or they go Justin Jefferson in that spot, or Jerry Jeudy is there for some reason. There you go. But if they brick, they could be looking to bounce out, accumulate some more picks, and assemble some more help around Tom Brady. So that could be a spot to trade up for KINLAW. Lastly, number 5. So this is probably the most far-fetched, but I mean, I just love it. So Isaiah Simmons, defensive weapon for Clemson. Yeah, the full-on defensive weapon. I love this kid so much, but I haven't talked about him much on this channel because we're focused on the Vikings draft. Probably going to be way out of range, but there is some chatter that he could fall because even though he's a great player, teams just don't know where to play him. I mean, is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? Is he a cornerback? Is he an edge rusher? Teams don't really know. And, we have staunchly conservative coaches that are just like, well, players need to fit my scheme. Build your scheme around Isaiah Simmons. Figure it out. It's one of those guys, right? So if he fell, I would be super tempted to go up and get him. Like, say if he got through the Panthers at 7, the Cardinals at 8, somehow he got to 9. Jaguars are in full free fall, full rebuild. So say there aren't in on Justin Herbert, and one of the quarterbacks du jour aren't there. And even though they already have multiple first-round picks, if they open to trading, say 9 for 22, 25, that would give them 3 first-rounders, which would be a nice little way to move on from the Tom Coughlin era. So say for the trade chart, Vikings ship the 2 first-rounders, 22, 25, 89. That's 1,645 points. Jaguars set number 9 overall, as well as 73 in the 3rd round, and 116 for 1,637. That syncs up pretty close. And Man, that'd be super tempting, man. And the question was, well, where does he play, bro? Play him anywhere. Play him at the will linebacker spot in a 3-4 or a 4-3, whatever one you want to do. Have him play big nickel in sub packages. Have him be a box safety. Have him be nickel or dime linebacker. Have him edge rush it in certain packages. I do not care. I absolutely do not care. But Isaiah Simmons will be the ultimate, especially a slot weapon, especially teams that have either big slot receivers or put the tight end in the slot quite a bit. He'd be just amazing. And yet I dream. So there we go. Happy draft week, everyone. Those are our 5 Vikings trade up targets and scenarios. What are yours? What are your thoughts on ours? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us something in the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. Until next time. Skol, production value.